It's the Rob Dibble Show. We are live from the AAC Media Days here up in Rhode Island, in Newport, Rhode Island, and it is at Gurney's Newport Resort and Marina. Bob Joyce is with me, Ben Darnell is with me, and now the finest coach in the AAC, Randy Edsall, joins us here on the program. And, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be with you guys.
It's great to have you here. So, I mean, you've been through so many of these, but, is this basically now you're getting closer to the regular season? Does this get your juices flowing?
Yeah, you get the goosebumps now, and you know that hey, it's right around the corner. Players report on the 31st. We're going back to work on Thursday as coaches. I get one more day of golf on Wednesday.
That's it. That's it. One more day of golf.
Got to get one more in, but no. And then when you come here, you know how it is because you're a competitor. You get the juices flowing. You start to get the competitiveness. You hate these guys. You just can't wait to get out in the field and get after them. And that's part of the reason you hope the players come away with that same kind of feeling.
I know you don't know much about what's going on the last couple of months with all your guys and what they've been doing, but competition-wise, showing up on campus, being gym rats, how has it gone for you guys in the offseason?
Well, I think it's going very, very well. The one thing that we did this year that it was a little bit different, and we really worked on leadership. And, I've had leadership councils before, but what I did this year, we've got 13 guys from each, at least one guy from each position. But then I broke it down, and I put a guy in charge of the 13 specific areas within our program, and then put some other of those leadership guys with them. And what I was going to do was hold them accountable for those areas, and if they had issues that we have to address these. So it's academics, offense, defense, special teams, the freshmen, broke it all down. And the one thing that I've seen is these young men have really taken the task and really run with it. And you see this leadership. So we have more so now than since I've been back, where guys not only are holding themselves accountable, but they're holding their teammates accountable. And that's what's really got me excited, because I see last year we were like this, 10 fingers, all spread out, everybody going in different directions. Right. The me philosophy, okay? Now you're seeing the closed fist. Now you got a chance. And that's the thing that really excites me about this group right now. And they've taken the freshmen and integrated them. And I had a chance to be on campus this morning and last Thursday and watch the workout, watch the guys run this morning, and you can really just see it coming together. And now what we've got to do is, I told the Leadership Council last night, I had them to dinner, and I said, now we've got to take the next step as we go into preseason practice. So we got this phase done. Now we're going to go into the next phase starting August 1st.
You've got a new defensive coordinator. Or no, I'm sorry, second-year defensive coordinator, Billy Crocker. Right. Very young, a lot of new players, starters this year. What's it going to look like?
It's going to look young. But the one thing that I see, and this is the other thing, those kids, because we had the installs done before we left to go on vacation. Mm-hmm. And each one of those young men that are part of that leadership council was responsible for getting their guys into the meeting room and going in and installing the install for those first 5 practices that we've had. So the one thing that you're going to see is you're going to see a defense that's more comfortable, that understands what we're doing, and you're going to see a defense that's going to be more aggressive and more attacking than what we were a year ago. And you're probably going to see some freshmen, in there playing as well. So, but that's the thing that you're going to see different this year than it's opposed to last year.
We are live from the American Athletic Conference Media Day here with Randy Edsall, the head coach of UConn football. Is there a part of you, especially the seniors of this year that weren't your guys when you came back to UConn, that you're like, listen, I'd love to send them on their way with a winning season, that I'd love to get to showcase these guys as much as possible?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, these kids have worked hard. And, the one thing is they are bought into the culture that we need, that I feel we need in order to win and to get us back to, winning consistently and winning year in and year out. And so for that, you want them to have success. You want them to have that opportunity to experience, say, a bowl game. So you're going to try to do everything as a coach that you can to reward them. We only have 7 scholarship seniors on our roster this year. And so, you know, for what I want for each and every one of those guys is to be able to have that experience. They haven't had that experience. You know, I don't want them to have to, you know, let their buddies tell them about it a year from now, you know, because, again, it's hard, you know, when there's transition. But these guys have done a good job of doing the things necessary, and you want to have them be rewarded for that hard work.
Coach, I've been watching your offense now for a year and a half, watched a lot of the spring game as well, and a lot of people think read option is kind of gimmicky and a little cute as far as not being a tough physical offense, but the personnel that you have in this year is a bunch of tough guys, especially at running back, and even your quarterback likes to run the football. Talk about how that read option is going to look this year a little bit different from the past.
Well, the one thing is, I think, you know, David is an athlete.
Yeah, he is.
And David has good feet. And for David to be successful, we have to allow him to use his creativity to be able to make some plays. And sometimes things go back there, and he might move around in the pocket or take off and have the ability to run or throw it outside the pocket, or even the ability, you know, to run the RPOs, the run pass options, where he can come down and fake it and pop it to somebody or come off that. But any time that you can run the ball or have play action, you know, you put a bind on the defense. And that's the one thing that I think is going to help us this year. We're going to be multiple personnel-wise, where we're going to use, you know, 2 tight end offenses, 3 wide receiver offenses. We're going to be multiple. We're going to mix the tempo. We can't go full pace, full speed, you know, because if you're not scoring, you know, you're putting your defense in a heck of a bind. And I think we're more suited to being able to, tempo is good when you can change it up. You know, it's like Rob knows, sometimes, you know, you get a fastball and, yeah, you can go, but then all of a sudden you throw in that change up, you know, and that's the thing. You want to be able to have the ability to change it up, because there comes a time where maybe late in the game, you know, you're ahead, and you want to be able to take some time off the clock. So you got to be able to be flexible and to be able to do that. So if you're multi-personnel and you have the ability to change tempo when you want, you know, now I think that makes you a little bit better and more unpredictable offensively.
And you've got some big boys up front: Matt Paratier, Crozier, Ryan Crozier, your 5th-year senior center, Cam DeGeorge, Ryan Vandermark. You threw right into the Wolves last season. You mentioned at the Coaches Road Show that the Cespedes kid from New London has really come into his own. In a perfect world, Randy, what are you looking like? Maybe 8, 9 guys you'd like to have depth-wise on the offensive line?
Well, that's what I mean, if I can get 8, then I got it covered, because then I got a backup center. I got a guard that can go either right or left, and then a tackle who, you know, can either play right or left, or, you know, if you hope this wouldn't happen, but if something happened to Ryan, you know, you can move Matt over to the left side because he's played it, and then you have a guy, say, like James Tunstall, that can go in at right tackle. So if you can at least get 8, because, again, that's one position where you're not going to play a lot of guys, because the cohesiveness and the continuity and the working together, it's tough to throw somebody in and give those guys a break, and they don't need it anyhow. But, you know, people might think I'm crazy, but I like that group. I think that group is going to, and I said it, and we've had some good offensive lines, but I think this group, if they can stay healthy, that they have a chance to be really, really good, and one of the best we've had. And, you know, and then we got some young guys that, you know, Stanley Hubbard and Rob Holmes and James Tunstall. Those right now, to me, would be the 8 with those other 5. And then we got some young guys, and, you know, now with this new redshirt rule that went into effect, it gives you an opportunity to maybe take some of those young guys that are freshmen and be able to play them and get them some experience and not lose a redshirt year. So, you know, that's something that we're going to have to, we've talked about, and we'll talk more about when we get back together as a staff here on Thursday.
Besides your record this year, what would be a big success for the UConn football team this year?
I think the biggest thing is for us to get better and play hard and consistent for 60 minutes. And then you let the chips fall where they may at the end of the day. you know, and then if you do that, the record will be what it is. You know, and that's why it's always, you hate to say how many wins do you expect and all this stuff. No, my whole thing is if we can get these guys to play as hard as they can and play together, you know, for 60 minutes each and every game and lay it all on the line out there, then we're going to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. You know, and that's been my mentality, you know, when I was an assistant coach, as a head coach. And because if you do that, you're going to end up winning more than you lose.
Coach, talk about setting up non-conference games in this conference. And this conference has got some great football programs, and it's almost like if you play us, if you play American Conference and you lose, it's going to kill your RPI. If you play us and you win, sometimes it doesn't really help your RPI. Basketball deals with this all the time. But for you, you had to work with Boise State. Now you're going all the way across country week 2. But have there been challenges for you to set up non-conference games being in an AAC?
It has been from this standpoint because where we're at right now in terms of the conference that we play in and having that opportunity to be in the bowl championship, you're going to have to schedule a very tough and schedule Power 5 teams with your non-conference. Now, with that, some of the big boys, they won't play us.
Right.
Home and home. You know, they'll come there and we'll pay you 1.4, you know, 1.2 to come and play, but they're not going to come to Rensselaer. We didn't have that issue before when we were in the Big East. We had home and homes with a lot of those people, you know, and now it's hard to do that. But we're going to have to schedule some of those one-time games, you know, pay games, just to help with our schedule. And that's where, you know, you'd hope with the local teams, you know, in terms of BC, Rutgers, Virginias, the Marylands, you know, those teams, if we can get them to play home and home, that would enhance our schedule because they are the Power 5 teams. And then you schedule, you know, which we have Clemson, you know, coming on board, and you know, then we can go and get some of those other teams that we want to play. But that's where we are. That's the world we live in right now. And but again, is, you know, once we get to 20, 21 in that range, you know, we would hope that we have our depth built up and we have our talent level, you know, to where, hey, we're going to go on the road and beat those teams in those bye games. That's what we're shooting for.
It almost reminds me of 2002, this year's team, potentially to 2002. I remember how geeked the kids were because they actually spent the summer on campus. They worked out. They said this year was going to be different. You went to BC to open the season, and just opened up a lot of eyes. Now, granted, it took a while to get going, and you finished up 6-6. Do you see any comparisons to maybe that year to what this year could be, with the fact that the kids are now all seem to be on the same page, and you have a tough opener with UCF coming out of the gate?
You know, I do see that, you know, and for me as a coach, if the kids never accept accountability of themselves or aren't going to hold the other their teammates accountable, to me, you have no chance. And I think I've been around long enough to be able to see that. And whether I was an assistant coach, you know, or a head coach, I've seen it when I was at Syracuse as an assistant. I've seen it, you know, I saw it in the pros. Saw the same thing in the NFL with the Jaguars. And when you know that you have that, and when you see that, you know you have a chance. Didn't have that last year. Mm-hmm. Didn't have it. But it's different now. And I think when you talk to the kids, they'll tell you that. And I'm not going to, there was one situation we had this summer that took place. And when that happened, I knew we were going to be a much better football team. And he's smiling because I think he knows what I'm talking about. You know, he's seen those things happen.
I'm sure.
Rob has seen those things
I've started those things.
Yeah, so. Oh, exactly. Right. And when you see that, I said to our coaches, we finally got somebody that gets it. It was no different when Finch and Danny and those guys were here, Krug. Mm-hmm. It just takes one little thing sometimes to get it. And now, you know, and that's the need. I see guys that, have more confidence. And you would think, okay, you're coming off a 3-9 season. The guys went, but you see a whole different atmosphere. And like I said, just ask the kids. And that's why I tweeted out the other day. I'm so proud of what I've seen so far of our leadership council. Because if it's done, and Rob knows, if it's done by us as coaches, it ain't gonna get to where we want.
Right.
It better be done by the players.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones out there playing, not us. We just hope we can't screw them up. No, seriously. We got to put them in the right situations, and I know we're going to do that. But at least I know that they want to be in the right situations, and they want to go and do it and do the things that they want to do. Here's my big guy, my bodyguard, just came in right now.
Oh my God,
Matt,
this kid is
Matt
unbelievable.
He just,
how's it going?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. Feel good.
Yeah?
Feel great.
Did you hit anybody yet today? You got a hate on for these guys already?
A hate on? This is a deep drive and competition base. But we're in friendly territory right now. It's nothing but love and peace right now. But on the field,
August 30th, all different, right?
all different. August 30th.
Matt, can we spend a few minutes with you?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, hang
All
on.
right,
Let's
we're
go
going
to
to come
break.
back.
Yeah,
We're going to take a
come
break. We'll be back with
Awesome.
Matt Pert,
Randy,
offensive
thanks.
lineman of the UConn Huskies. Randy Edsall, the head coach, will be back live from the AAC Media Day here at Gurney's Newport Resort and Marina. It's the Rob Dibble Show.